Have you ever noticed how sometimes the government says one thing, but then what they actually do is totally different?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like what you see happening doesn't match up with what they said?
Yeah, like a big disconnect.
Yeah, exactly.
Happens all the time.
And well, that's kind of what we're going to be looking at today.
All right.
It's all about this situation with the Trump administration and how they handled a judge's order about immigration.
Ooh, okay.
And let's just say it seemed a little, well, messy,
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
complicated.
It really looked like they were trying to walk this tightrope,
Right.
like saying they'd follow the court order, but then also hinting that they were going to keep doing certain things their own way.
Exactly. And to try to understand what was going on here, we're diving into an analysis from a YouTube video
Okay.
by the Ring of Fire.
Interesting.
Now, their commentary focuses on some statements made by Tom Homan. You might remember him.
Yeah.
He was the acting director of IC.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
That's the one. And get this, the title of the video is Trump's Border Czar Admits They'll Keep Breaking the Law.
Whoa, okay, so they're not pulling any punches.
No, they're not.
Sounds like it's going to be juicy.
It is. And our mission today is to really get to the bottom of this whole controversy.
Right.
This apparent contradiction between what the administration was saying publicly.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So first things first, to set the scene, a judge named James Robart issued an order about the Trump administration's immigration practices.
Okay, makes sense. Got to start with the basics.
And the big takeaway from this order was basically this directive to hit reverse on certain flights. We had to turn the flights around and bring people back to the U.S.
Oh, wow. So like literally bring them back.
Yeah, until everything got sorted out legally.
Okay, so that's a pretty significant move by the court.
Huge, right?
Definitely.
It's like a classic example of the judiciary stepping in to check the executive branch.
Right. Checks and balances in action.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, against this backdrop, we've got a statement from Tom Homan that becomes really important.
Okay.
So during an interview with ABC's Jonathan Karl,
Familiar name.
Homan was asked about this very order, and according to the Ring of Fire commentary, his initial response was pretty blunt.
What did he say?
He reportedly said, "I don't care what judges think."
Whoa. Okay, that's a strong statement.
It is, especially coming from a high-ranking official like that.
Yeah, it definitely suggests some tension between the executive branch and the courts.
For sure, but hold on, because the story doesn't end there.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah, both Tom Homan and President Trump later said publicly that the administration would actually follow the court orders.
Oh, so they backtracked.
Yeah, so you have this initial defiant statement and then a public promise to comply.
So which is it? Are they going to follow the order or not?
Right, and that brings us to the key question. How did Homan try to explain these two very different positions?
Good question, because saying one thing and then its opposite is going to leave people confused.
Absolutely, and this is where the Ring of Fire analysis really gets interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
So Homan said that the administration would continue to arrest and deport people that they classified as public safety threats and national security threats.
Okay.
What he seemed to be implying here is that they would keep doing this no matter what Judge Robart's order said.
Oh, so even though the order said to stop the flights? Interesting.
And this is where that contradiction really stands out.
Right. It seems like he's saying, we'll follow the order, but we're going to keep deporting these specific people.
Right, like trying to have it both ways.
Exactly. And the Ring of Fire commentary really questions this approach, They're saying, can an administration just decide which parts of a court order they like and follow those and ignore the rest?
Yeah, it's a valid point.
Big time.
And then Homan brought up this whole thing about the case being in litigation through the Alien Enemies Act.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
It is. And he said that they would follow the court order as litigated.
As litigated. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so what's interesting here is that he's bringing up the Alien Enemies Act.
Okay.
Now, this act gives the executive branch certain powers.
Right, I remember hearing about this.
During times of war or national emergencies, and it's all about apprehending and removing alien enemies.
So basically, it gives them extra leeway in certain situations.
Right, and what Homan seems to be suggesting is that this law gives them the grounds to keep deporting these people, even with the judge's order in place.
Okay, so he's using this other law as justification.
Exactly, and that phrase, as litigated, suggests that they'll only comply once all the legal battles are done, and they've figured out how the Alien Enemies Act works with the judge's order.
I see. So it's like they're saying we'll comply eventually, but on our own terms?
Yeah, basically, so even with this legal argument, Holman's main point was that they would keep targeting the worst of the worst.
Okay.
And deporting them based on existing laws.
So still kind of going against the judge's instructions to pause deportations?
Right? It's like they're operating alongside the order, or maybe even in conflict with it.
Yeah, it's a bit murky, isn't it?
Totally. And so this led Jonathan Karl to ask the obvious follow-up question.
The question on everyone's mind.
Are you going to defy court orders?
Straight to the point.
Right to the heart of the matter.
I like it.
And according to our source, Holman's answer was a straight-up no.
Mm.
We will not defy court orders. But as the Ring of Fire points out, this denial seems to go against the actions Holman had just described.
Right, like he just said they'd keep arresting and deporting people.
Exactly. The very people that the judge's order was supposed to protect.
So their words and actions don't match up.
Not at all. And it's that contrast, the difference between saying they'll comply and then describing actions that look like defiance.
That's what makes this whole thing so controversial.
Totally. Now, the Ring of Fire also highlights this apparent fact that the administration had already acted in a way that seemed to go against the order.
Okay.
And that they had publicly said they would keep doing so.
So it's not even a question of if they're going to defy the order they already have.
Right. It creates this impression of a huge gap between their words and their actions.
Yeah, not a good look.
Not at all. The commentary also brings up a point about a brief that was reportedly filed by then Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Interesting.
To the court. And the suggestion was that this brief questioned whether the judge's ruling was actually valid.
Oh, wow. Why?
Because it was verbal.
Oh, so they're saying because he just said it and it wasn't written down, it doesn't count.
Yeah, implying that a spoken order might not have the same legal weight as a formal written one.
That's a pretty bold argument.
It is, and whether or not that argument holds up legally, it definitely added to this feeling of ambiguity and potential non-compliance.
Right. It just muddies the waters even further.
So let's sum this up for everyone.
Okay.
Our source material through the Ring of Fire commentary shows us a scenario where the Trump administration seemed to be both saying they'd follow a judge's order on immigration and doing the opposite. And this has led to a lot of questions and accusations that they're either incompetent or deliberately trying to create confusion.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It is. And it all boils down to one question that you, the listener, are probably asking yourselves right now.
Two. How
can a government say they're committed to upholding the law while seemingly ignoring a direct order from a judge?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, and it really makes you think about what this apparent ambiguity says about their whole approach to legal and political matters.
Right, like what are their underlying principles here?
Exactly. We're left wondering what was behind all this.
Yeah.
Did they genuinely believe that their authority on national security matters trumped a judicial order?
Or was it something more calculated?
Right. Or was it like the YouTube commentary suggests maybe a strategic move to create this sense of confusion?
It's hard to say for sure.
It is, but it's a question worth considering.
Definitely. So we've talked about this central tension, right? The administration saying they'll comply with the law, but then continuing to do things related to immigration enforcement that the court order was trying to stop.
And it makes you think about what happens when there's this kind of mismatch between what the government says and what it actually does.
Yeah. What does that mean for the rule of law?
Exactly. And what about public trust?
Especially when things aren't clear.
And so we come to a final thought-provoking question for you to ponder.
All right, hit me with it.
What if the goal, as the Ring of Fire commentators suggest, really was to create confusion? What would that mean for the public's faith in our institutions and the whole idea of the rule of law?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. And what is our responsibility as informed citizens when we see these kinds of contradictions?
Do we just accept it or do we demand better?
Right. Do we seek clarity and hold people accountable?
It's a question that goes way beyond this one specific case.
Absolutely. It gets to the heart of how our government functions and our role in it as citizens.
Food for thought.
Definitely something to think about.